I just finished a coaching session with my student, and this is something that you have to see. This will be a short, high-value video where we're gonna take a look on how you can easily lose 2 seconds or more lap time by doing this mistake right here. And I can guarantee that this will happen to you to a certain degree. It happens to me too, it happens to all the drivers, and it's something that once you try to actively fix it, your lap time will instantly improve. So let me show you his approach while braking, because in his case it was a lot more obvious of this mistake going on. So right from the start he was braking, holding the threshold braking, and now when he should be turning more into the corner and basically trail braking the lower percentages, he is holding the throttle applied. So he's turning and braking and holding the throttle at the same time. Still holding the throttle, and now he's committing more and more and slowly arrives to 100% throttle. So there are multiple things going on here besides the obvious overlap. You're doing something like this, but because you're so early on the gas here, instead of being at the apex, you reach the car's highest point of rotation at the car minimum speed, which was here. But when you start to press the throttle, rotation will decrease, which is so early. So naturally with the line, you will do something like this and kinda miss the apex. And we'll go in a moment to the root cause of this, because this is how we can fix it if we understand the root cause. But the main idea is to brake up to the apex, and then from this point onward to push the throttle. And it's not necessarily like you're not trail braking to the apex. The actual issue is that you're trail braking while holding the throttle. And the real question is why? Why you're doing this? We'll cover that in a sec. When you're braking and just braking, you're pushing weight into the front end of the car, the front axle, a lot of weight here on this tire. But when you're pressing the gas, you're doing the opposite around, and you're transferring a little bit of the weight to the rear tires. And the root cause for your braking and throttle overlap is that you're actually braking too hard on a straight line. Because right now what you're doing is more or less something like this. You do most of your braking on a straight line. Yes, you do trail brake a little, but most of your braking force happens on a straight line. We will think at our current braking as a surface area, this one right here, and let's call it S1. We want to distribute this braking force into a different shape that will be a little bit more efficient. Something like this, for example, the green part. And what I want you to notice is that, yes, it's a bit different, but in the end, the areas should be more or less equal. So we're not braking more than before, but we're braking a little bit more while we're turning the car. We're pushing more speed into the corner. And as a result, we improve our momentum. We do it exactly as we discussed by just distributing our brake shape and also braking a bit later, because currently we're braking a bit earlier, and that's why you feel the need to go on gas way earlier than it should. And speaking about flow, this is what we're currently doing. We're going super early on throttle, but we can't convert to 100% throttle. We follow this staircase pattern, which is bad, because in the end, the exit is only good if you reach 100% throttle in the shortest amount of time. Just because we pressed the throttle earlier, but we couldn't push the throttle hard enough, this won't mean we'll gain time on the exit. You can actually be later on throttle, but a little bit more aggressive and reach 100% throttle earlier, and it's still gonna be quicker on your way out. So in order to have a good flow, the inputs should blend naturally, like you're braking and then pushing the throttle without doing the staircase pattern. This is gonna allow you to feel like how the car is flowing through the corner, and it's transitioning seamless between trail braking and high percentage throttle application. Because that's exactly what's going on right now. If you look once again at the different corner, braking, and at this point in time we're already on throttle, but look how we put the power down. Modulating, still modulating, and then reaching 100%. So It didn't help that we were early on the gas. We're actually super early on throttle. Like at this point right here, that's an early throttle application, but we can't convert it because we just lose rotation at the wrong spot in the corner. And this ties nicely with the timing, because you must coordinate your throttle application with the apex. Generally a little bit earlier than the apex, because racing cars are a bit better at decelerating rather than accelerating, but this was such an early point to press the throttle. So to make things easier, what you want to do is to time your throttle application with the apex itself. That's a good starting point. And then you will dial it down a little bit so that you will be a tiny bit earlier than the apex, especially in corners that leads to big straight. But for the moment, the timing will be like this. Brake, brake, still on the brakes. Ignore the throttle input. Now you should be still on the brakes. Braking, 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 still on the brakes, still on the brakes, still on the brakes. Now gas. When you hit the most inside part of the corner, that's when you hit the apex. Then you push the throttle. Not before that, not after that. The timing matters a lot. So you really want to focus on your apex references. If you don't have an apex reference, find the reference for your apex. And when you hit that reference, that's when you press the throttle to have that good timing. And then you'll be able to reach 100% throttle a lot quicker. And also, you have to brake a bit later so that you will be forced to stay on the brakes, because right now the car feels slow. And because the car feels slow to you, you feel the need to press on throttle, because we're racing drivers. We want to do something with the car at all time. The problem is that the timing is wrong. Pushing the throttle here will be a big mistake. So once again, have a reference for braking, have a reference for pushing the throttle. That's going to be the reference for the apex itself. Don't push the throttle up until you get to the apex. Slightly earlier will be ideal, but not that early. And reach 100% throttle a lot quicker. These are the changes that if you will do them and you take them one by one, your driving will change to a whole different level. Plus, regarding the tire temps, there are two main overlaps that you generally want to avoid. So let's say you're preparing to brake into a corner, you're holding 100% throttle, you're dropping the throttle because you need to brake. If you're overlapping like this initially, and then you're also overlapping when you're pressing the throttle, this is quite bad, because we are overheating the tire here in this part and also here in this part. It's gonna be a bit too much. The easiest way to avoid this is to move your second throttle application a little bit later so that you are not overheating the tires in this phase. It's a lot easier than fixing this one. Being smooth on dropping the throttle and pressing the brakes initially, it's quite hard. And if you can do it, it's amazing. But it's hard. The easiest thing to do at first is to avoid this overlap, because you will have the tires in such a good window if you don't press the throttle and brake at the same time. But if you can do it on the entry initially, it's gonna be even better. And in the end, guys, I just want to say a big thank you to each and everyone that joined recently. It's quite amazing how this channel has been growing in the past couple of months. And honestly, like I said, just thank you for being here. Hopefully this was a video that you've learned something from, and I'm looking forward to produce more content like this. Bye bye.